Dean MacPherson, Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, says the real infrastructure problems and crisis resides in local government, and his department's implemented ways to solve these problems at the local government level. MacPherson was speaking on the sidelines of the inaugural Public Works Infrastructure Summit being held in Johannesburg. The Council for the Built Environment, CBE, an entity of the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, is hosting the summit under the theme Turning South Africa into a Construction Site, Growing the Economy and Creating Jobs.
The real crisis in infrastructure exists in local government. I'm not convinced that local government has the technical capability or skills to be able to implement complex infrastructure projects at least. And that's why we see so much money being returned to National Treasury. We see the findings of the Auditor General that show that 86% of projects that they viewed were either failures or incomplete. That is a crisis, and unless we fix that and we get to the root of that problem, which comes down to leadership in municipalities and officials that can actually do the job, then the problem is going to persist. So we've come with a solution to that. We are piloting a project in 4 municipalities across the country where Infrastructure South Africa will be the lead on those projects, and the money will be used from National Treasury for Infrastructure SA to implement those projects and deliver them. And I'm willing to bet that we'll be able to show that they can be done more effectively on time, and that the private sector has a partner in Infrastructure South Africa that they trust over some local municipalities.
Well, for more now on this, we cross live to SABC News economics reporter Nosipho Khadebe, who is there. Nosipho, infrastructure is, of course, a major problem in the country. What has been coming out of the summit to work on this major issue?
Certainly, Juliet. Very good afternoon to you and the viewers at home. Infrastructure is a major challenge in South Africa, and that's been coming out today from the conference, from the various speakers we've heard today at this summit, outlining the importance of ensuring that we get the basics right in order, as we heard from Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi, in order to attract investment in various provinces. And, of course, making sure that we turn words into action is also another message that's been coming through today from the summit here gathered in Sandton. But I'm going to turn to one of my guests this afternoon who deals with the built environment, and that's architect and landscape architect Chris Steinberg. Chris, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. Talk to us about what your approach is to the built environment.
Thank you, Nosipho. So when it comes to the built environment, and especially public infrastructure, we're excited to plan these facilities because we know we're not only planning it for the sake of a facility, we're looking at the people which is the end user that will be using this facility. We need to look at who they are, especially what province are they from, what's their cultural background, how do they respond to the built end product that we'll be giving them, the facility. But at the same time, we also need to look at the environment. How does the environment respond, or how does it impact the environment where we're building this facility? So firstly, we've got the hard brick and mortar, that the structure of the building, but around it we've got the living plants, trees that provide shelter. Think of a clinic in your area where you see people standing in lines, old people, sick people, and sometimes in harsh conditions. We look at people in the Free State standing in chilling, cold winds, winter mornings, and other people in scorching sun. So we need to respond in a way and design this facility in such a way that it shelters them, that they've got seating, that they've got shade to stand under, or shelter from strong winds. And that is the focus, and that is why it's important to have all the role players, all the professionals working together to get this facility to respond to both the public and the environment.
Let's talk about maintenance. That was one of the key topics or themes that were highlighted today. In terms of maintenance, if we get quality sort of material, do we need maintenance then at all?
Yes, thank you for that question. It is quite important that the professional, at the end of the project, when we're done with stage 6, the professional will issue a maintenance schedule. In that schedule will tell the end user how to maintain this building and the landscape, for instance, and the engineering or road or whatever it is that is the infrastructure. That on that schedule it will say on a daily basis you will do the following maintenance tasks, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, yearly, 5-yearly, and that needs to be followed closely. Number one. Number two, it's important for whoever runs the facility to set up a budget that they send out to the Treasury every year to say, listen, we've got a maintenance schedule that we're following. This is the cost of the following items that needs to be done, because maintenance isn't free. Maintenance, on the other hand, also provides the extra jobs. It's a job creator. So there's people that need to do the maintenance and look after the facility and the landscape around it, and that helps the community.
And then very quickly, just some of what you've been seeing when it comes to communities interacting with the various buildings that come into their communities.
Yes, it's important to be sensitive to the community and their culture, and that's why the CBE is basically the glue of all the professionals, entities in the country, to make sure that they lead them and that they regulate them so that we respond correctly to whatever culture or community we enter, so that they also accept what we are sending them, and because they are going to in the end associate their community and where they live and themselves to the facilities, which is the backbone of any community.
All right, we're going to wrap it up there. Chris, thank you so much. That was Chris Steinberg, architect and landscape architect, just giving us an indication of how they approach the built environment, some of the challenges that they see as landscape architects, communities not interacting in the way that was intended with some of the buildings. Issues, of course, as he highlighted, also with residents having to stand under, rain, scorching heat in order to access services. So how they are going to deal with those solutions and how we can move forward with those challenges when it comes to infrastructure outlined by Chris here. But I'm going to take it back then to you in studio, Juliet.
Thanks very much, Nosipho, chatting to us there from that summit, and we will be crossing to her one more time a bit later on in the third hour.